Hello, my name is Holly, and today I'm going to make a forever card, and I'm going to make it small size because my mother challenged me, but here's a large size card for an example, and it just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny. As long as you keep turning it, it keeps going. That's the back, and then if you flip it from the middle one more time, you're back to the beginning. And just keep going and going. And here's another example. Now these cards are 8 by 8 and they need special envelopes that I like to make myself. But there's another example of a forever card. They call them infinity cards or never-ending cards. So, and there you go. So, the first thing you do, since I was challenged to do a small card that would fit in an envelope, and I'm figuring that a invitation size envelope would do. You start with 2 4x4 pieces, and you don't have to use different colors, but for your first one it'll be easier if you do. So I've got 2 4x4s cut out, and the next step that you do is you cut the squares in half, and you'll notice that I have Post-it notes close to the edges. This is going to tell me where they go, where I cut them in half, because it's very important to make sure that you get your folds and cuts as exact as possible. So you cut them in 2. The next step, you score each piece, each of your 4 pieces at 1 inch and 3 inch, or if you're using your cutting board with a score piece in it, I find it easier to go at 1 inch on each side. You do all 4 pieces. And you'll notice that I have the Post-it notes to keep me to which sides should go together once I'm done. One of the important parts, it's easier to see on the gray. Don't use black if you're doing it for the first time, unless you really like a challenge, because it's hard to see. But if you can see that my finger is like, it's maybe not on the fold exactly, just use a bone folder, and if you press them together so that they go together, and I do it on both sides. You need to do all 4 pieces this way. And then once you're done with that, you take your Post-it notes and put the pieces together, because you're going to glue them. And so you put them together, and I've got step 4 showing you exactly what you do here. So you've got, the next step is to glue the corners. And so 1 piece, put it together so that it's all really meets up everywhere. And then your other one you put on top, your front page. And you'll notice that I've got the pieces going the one way and the other way. The front page should have the folds going down and up. So then you just glue the corners, and I like to use a permanent glue stick. It's very important to use permanent if you use a glue stick. And also, sometimes your pieces aren't exactly the right measurement, or just like a hair off. So if you keep them together like this, and also together like so that you can see what you're doing, then each little corner of the card gets glued, and you can see the fold there. And of course there's not a fold on this front part. Then turn it around and do the other side. So all 4 pieces get glued together. And it's also good to take the Post-it notes off after you're done, but take a go through everything and make sure it's good and secure. Your folds are, because the important part is to make sure it's continuously folding right. That's the end. Okay, that's the beginning. Okay. So what I've done here is set up the embellishments for the card, and I'll bring an example out of what I'm working on. And so here's one with embellishments in the small 4x4 size, and we'll start it from the beginning. And then there's side 2, side 3, and side 4. And you're back to the beginning. Okay. So I like the larger card only because you can put actual stamps and stuff on it. It's easier. I had to find teeny weeny stamps to do this. I'll just set this to the side now. But here are all your cuts, and each side has like 4 1 3/4 by 3/4, and these are squares 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then 2 more of the 1 3/4 by 3/4, and then you'll see that side B, which I thought maybe it would be easier to see, is you can see that side B and side C go. You can see side C part of it, so you have to be making sure that you're inside. And I'll show you this one just so you can see that you can see part. There's C here, and then you go into it, and it's got cake and the little creature. So there's C and C all the way. It's just small 3/4 by 3/4 pieces, and just embellishments with the special paper, decorative paper. And then side D, and you'll notice, I'll go back to this card, that if you turn this over, upside down is side D. But when you go through it, it is right side up. So until you go that way. So and it's important to pay attention to where you are. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make one card all the way through. You ready? All right, so I've got these. Again, you do the, and I have the embellishments already made up. So you take your card. This side is the opposite. And this is what this is, portrait size, I guess, portrait way, even though this is a square. It's kind of hard to say that, but then you see the fold there? Or not? Yeah, you can see the fold. Okay, and it's just a little square here. Again, use permanent glue if you're going to use a glue stick. I like glue sticks. And I just got this one a little off, as you can. If you work fast with the glue stick, it's good, but make sure it's permanent. But I like it because it adheres fast and it's permanent, so it's good. I'm getting my pieces a little bit. Once you make one of these, it's so easy to make hundreds of them. I mean, they're just so much fun to make. Okay, so then you don't need the Post-it notes anymore. And we're ready for the embellishments. Again, you want to go through it all and make sure it folds right. So, and that one's good. And the last page, and then back to the beginning. Okay, and these are the embellishments that I chose. I use this paper a lot, this decorative paper. But any paper will do. And just glue on the pieces. These are a 1/4 inch smaller than the actual square. This is like a 2-inch square, and these are 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And then these are the 1 3/4 by 3/4. And I kind of laid it out so that I could see what it was going to look like all along. Sometimes I make the card and just do a side at a time as I see fit. I believe that's what I did with the Christmas card. So, pretty simple. That side one. So, I always like it when Mom makes challenges for me. This one was a pretty easy challenge for me. Okay, so that's side A, if you will, or the first side. Then side B. Let's go ahead and turn it. Can you see this with it? Maybe? Okay. That one doesn't want to stay. The black that I used was a little stiff. That's another thing, is you want to use cardstock that's about the same weight on here. And so this is side B. And I'll go ahead and put it on. So side B. And then, these are little squares that are 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. I also usually set up, if I've got something small like this and I really like the design, I go ahead and make more than just one. So, especially when you're using teeny tiny stamps. In fact, this was a stamp that I cut apart as far as when I put the ink on it. Okay, there's side B, finished, and you can see there. Okay, then side C is not wanting to stay for us. Maybe, but see, I don't have everything written on that one. Let's see. And it didn't want to stay either. Okay, so that's all right. side C, and I did a little extra embellishment. So when you're using decorative paper, sometimes it interferes with any kind of stamp that you're going to want to use. So I embellished it. And sometimes, okay, so that's C. And then I want to make sure that this doesn't look crazy coming through. So, and I think only the got shows up when you do this. So, got cake. And this goofy little character here. Again, this is one stamp that I inked half of it, and then the creature. So, okay. And notice I'm putting him way over here because I don't really want him to show up too much until you open the side C. And you just put the embellishments on the little tabs here. It's easier to see on a bigger card as far as, because you could do some more with these. These are a lot bigger. Okay. Okay, and then we got one more side to go. Here's side C. Ta-da! And I'll go backwards so that you can see side B. And you see it doesn't really interfere with what's on side C. Then you got side D. And side D is 1 3/4. Oh, let's turn this over too for everybody. Always go from the middle. Okay, and there's side D. And I'm glad I had these all pre-cut, but they're 1 3/4 by 3/4, and then the 1 3/4 by 1 3/4 squares. So why don't you try to center in the pieces. And I've used some things so that it doesn't really matter which side. Sometimes I'll do opposites or whatever if I've got different papers that I'm using, decorative papers. It just all depends on my mood at the moment. Okay, so there you have a forever card, or never ending, or infinity, whatever you want to call it. Then what I do, okay, so there's your side D. Let's just, we don't need that anymore. So let's go through it. A, B, C, and D. And it goes back to A. And then what I have done, and I went ahead and made it because you all know how to make cards. So these are just the half of an 8.5 by 11. Is I made the card so that you could insert this one and mail it. And I also say that the forever card opens from the middle of each side because people don't know usually how they work them. So there you go. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you again or for other crazy cards made by Holly.